Hi, welcome to another Glanmore Museum Makers. I'm your museum maker today, Dave, and today we're looking at these 1850s Victorian skates. Looking at our 1850s skates here, they're clearly made out of a hardwood, some leather straps, and a steel blade. The blade has been sectioned in. There's a groove in the wood to keep the blade in place. There's also a retaining pin up here, and there's a spike here with a head down here pulling the blade up into place. I'm not 100% sure about the construction of this. I could tell a lot more if I were willing to take this skate apart, but this is a museum artifact, and I am not willing to be that guy. So I'm just going to do my best to recreate this from the clues I can see from the outside, and we can see the groove there, and I think I'll start about there. So for this project, I've decided to go with things that I could just get at the local building center. I don't want to break the bank. I also want to make this achievable. So I've made some substitutions. For the blade, I'm using a piece of mild steel that is 1/4 of an inch thick by 4 inches tall by 12 inches long. That should be enough to get both of our blades out of and fit our test subject and recreate the original. For the wood, I can't get my hands on white oak very easily, and even if I could, the dimensions are a little bit prohibitive. So what I've done is I've selected a nice piece of maple that was nominally 1 by 3. I cut the length in half, and I've laminated it together to give us a piece that's thick enough and wide enough. It took a couple of passes with the table saw, but I was able to cut a groove in the bottom of our wooden skate base for the blade. Just almost exactly the right thickness to accommodate our steel. I'll just need to tap that into place, but better too firm, too tight, just a hair too tight than too loose. So that's what I will do. And, oh, stuck. And I have the blades, or the runners, marked out on this piece of steel. I know it would be much faster and much more effective in terms of conservation of material to just get a piece of bar stock and draw that out with a forge and then curl it around. I don't have access to a forge right now, and even if I did, well, I don't have access to a forge right now. So I'm just going to cut that out with a jigsaw and shape it and clean it up using files and belt sander. I'm also going to cut out the shape, the profile of our wooden base. Okay, so that took some work and ate its way through a couple of jigsaw blades. I drilled some holes to make the curve a little bit easier, and you can tell that we're looking at a pretty rough finish right now. So I'm going to use a rounded file and smooth that out, and a grinding wheel, and kind of ease the transition on the outside. The other thing you may be able to see is that I've left a little bit extra bulk right here, because there's a retaining pin, a hole that's going to go through there to hold it in the wood, and I wanted to leave a little bit more meat there so that there'd be material around the pin to hold it in place. Okay, now to the filing. It looks like the original has something very much like a flathead machine screw sectioned into the blade and pulled up and tightened with a knot. So I'm going to try to cut a wedge in the back of the blade here. I'm going to start by drilling a couple of holes as stops, and I'll fit this 1/4-20 flathead in so that it will have enough meat to pull up into the wood. Right, we have the keyway filed. That'll hold our machine screw in place. The machine screw will tighten the back of the blade into the wood, and that will also become the heel spike that'll keep the boot from sliding off the heel. So our skates are looking pretty good, but the wood's just too new. So I've got some stain just in the shop. I'm going to put on some pre-stain, and then I'm going to stain them. To strap the repros, I have found in part these little straps that could be a dog collar or a cat collar. This is actually something called a curb strap, which is part of a horse harness. And I went to the local tractor supply store and found these for just $8. So that's not a bad price. And what that means is I'll be able to just take that same strap and pull that off, and this will become our toe strap. And we'll need to adjust that to fit the boot, but we'll do that with both of those. And I need to create a heel strap as well. I've just grabbed a piece of leather, scrap piece of leather, and I'll cut that down. I may end up dyeing these just to make them look a bit more historically appropriate, but that's not important. It's just a cosmetic thing. As with all our Glanmore Museum Maker videos, I've included a sketch, a measured sketch of these replicas in the link down below. If you want to try making a pair yourself, please do. Just make sure you're using appropriate safety equipment and knowing how to work the equipment you're using. Also, if you're trying a pair of these, I'd encourage you to use a boot with a lot of ankle support. And if you have a way of hardening the steel or using a harder steel, that's really what would be required to have a sustainable, usable pair of skates, because these are going to dull really quickly, just being mild steel. I'm David Glanmore. Explore history in your own way. Thanks for watching.